Comics-related madness network. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish. They're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
And I'm Scott Wakefield, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we talk about comic books and all kinds of great storytelling, sometimes with incredible guests. And we want you to join us Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Wham, where we are joined by the venerable Rob Davis, as Vic would say, and the wonderful David Rios. And
hey, David.
It's just a pure coincidence. I actually set this topic over a month ago, and it's just pure coincidence that today the congressional hearings on UFOs has started up, and they have a whistleblower, former military intelligence officer of like 14 years as an intelligence officer in the Air Force and the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. And he has said that UFOs and aliens are real and that they have pieces of both hidden. I don't know if it's in Area 51 or not, but apparently
who knows?
Mulder and Scully were correct.
Yes.
So,
at least according to this guy. But he was a little wild-eyed and crazy. So
wasn't he though very enthusiastic?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, they're good. Vic says Buenos Aires, Silverliners and extraterrestrials. I didn't say that exactly right, but hey, Pops, love you.
Hey,
I saw Pops over the weekend. I was at Peoria, and somebody was streaming to his podcast and came over and streamed right from my table, and I got to say hi.
Oh, wow, cool! You got to say hi to him on the air live.
Yes.
Wow, cool.
Yes, Venerable has indeed stuck. And he also says
Thanks.
maybe Area 51 is a decoy. Well, I'm guessing that it probably is because it's so well known. Everybody goes to Area 51 now expecting to see aliens. So I'm sure they've moved it all somewhere else. How about
Maybe it's
you?
in Section 7, in the
Section
Transformers movie.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
Oh, what
that's
about
probably
you?
something like that.
What about you, David? Do
David?
you think aliens are real?
I have to say that no matter what, I believe there's life out there. How intelligent it is something else, but there has to be life out there. And with so many different, solar systems and stars and all that stuff, I mean, it's very possible. It could be very, very far away. Doesn't mean they'll come here, but I think at minimum there's definitely other life out there. It's just how intelligent it is and all that.
And whether it's actually visited here or not, there's no proof one way or the other. It's hard to say, but I'm with you. I think that's right. I think you're pretty close to. There's probably life out there, and probably like it may be intelligent. It might not be, but it's not going to be anything like us.
No, and we have to have an awful lot of hubris to say that we were the only intelligent life in the entire universe. Or even that we were around first. I mean, the universe has been expanding for how many billions of years?
13.8 billion years, I think it is. That's hard to even get your head around. That it's how many is 13 billion? That's a lot.
Yeah.
So,
as Victor says, yes, there's definitely bacteria at least.
Something on a small cellular level or something like that. But as far as being like us,
two arms,
possible,
two legs,
but,
a head, you mean?
Yeah, well, that too. But I'm thinking being exactly like us somewhere else in the universe, I really doubt. I think every place you go. Well, look at all the different kind of creatures there are on just this planet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've got us, and then you've got octopi. Octopuses, or however you pronounce, however you do the duplicates. But yeah,
it's octopi. But I prefer the other one.
I don't know. Octopuses, yeah. Octopus's garden in the shade. But they're weird creatures. I mean, think of, they're nothing like us. Their eyes are different. And they've got 8 appendages where we have, essentially 4 with these extras on the end of a couple of them. But actually all 4. But you know what I mean.
I do.
But I think you're right. There's some kind of life out there, but what is it exactly? And the distances between us is even the next solar system is the closest one is Alpha Centauri, and it's a couple of light years away. And even at the speed of light, it would take us a year to get there. And getting up to the speed of light is very expensive as far as energy expending goes.
Expenditures, yeah. Yep.
Vic says it's weird theory that octopuses or octopi are extraterrestrial, and it's a load of horse valiant. And Hash
because
says,
their DNA is like ours. Their DNA is like ours. If it was some different type of DNA, I believe it. So all right, Harsh, how are you?
Just the fact that they are actually having congressional hearings about it, however, is kind of amazing. That they're taking it seriously enough to actually be
I think there's so much conspiracy theory stuff out there right now that and there's so much evidence like what you're showing on the screen now that we have no explanation for that. So intelligent minds should be working on trying to figure out what this is. It's not the most important thing in the world to be worried about, but it certainly is interesting.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of other issues in the world besides whether somebody's peeping through our windows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the real UFO craze started back in the 50s, okay?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and have you noticed a theme or that consistently pops up? Who came up with the idea that UFOs have to be saucer shaped? But you notice that they
You
almost always are.
well, or I've seen descriptions of them sometimes that they're cigar shaped, and that's
Yes.
in a saucer looks like a cigar shaped edge on. So that I think that's part of it. They've had different types of shapes. I've read where some of them are triangular shaped with lights running around the triangle. And they run in groups of three. So yeah, they take different uh, incarnations, but they really flying saucers was one of they when they came up with that word, it just went like wildfire in the press. It's something for the journalists and muckrakers to put their hands around and say, "Oh, that's what they are. They're flying saucers." And you use that to either make fun of the people or to hype up whatever questions you're trying to get answered.
Royal
It's
Airship
royal.
says
Yeah.
if they're an extraterrestrial species that came from other planets or galaxies, you'd think that they'd be advanced enough not crash.
Yeah, to go that far across the universe to come here and then crash. Yeah, that's kind of far fetched, isn't it? I'd agree with that.
How about you, David?
I was chuckling when I saw that one. I'm like, yeah, you would think so.
Well, how about, okay, let's take a look at this one here. This is
That's
March
interesting.
25th, 1950 issue of Dublin's Teenage Times. Claim that these mysterious objects were flying saucers. It looks like defects in the film to me. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
or it looks like balloons. Looks like weather balloons to me because you can see the gondolas underneath them.
The
in
old
some of
weather
the
balloon excuse.
yeah.
I see. Mm-hmm.
'Cause those number one, they don't look like saucers. They look more like balloons. So I don't know.
Okay. Madness or Pop says we saw a huge V-shaped one in Phoenix.
See, that's what I'm saying.
There's a
Kind of
ton of
triangular
video
V shape.
of that one. Hey, Pops, why don't you pop in? We could use the help. We're a little short staffed tonight. Maybe it's a bad team driver. Pops makes a point. They have no idea how entering our atmosphere would affect their ship, but you'd have to think that there would be other
Would
planets
there be
out
an
there that
atmosphere
have
around whatever planet they came from?
that would have the oxygen atmosphere. But I could be wrong. They could be sulfuric acid breathing people. I don't know.
Yeah, that's possible. But they breathe something else. I don't know about sulfuric acid.
Oh, the space junk. Yeah, I don't.
Well, yeah, but in the 1950s there wasn't that much space junk, and that's when the first crash happened.
Yep. Picture of a flying saucer photographed by farmer Paul Trent over his farm in Minville, Oregon on May 11th, 1950. That does look a little bit more reasonable.
That, or it looks like a couple of people playing frisbee out in the field.
Or a long distance blimp.
Long
Yeah.
distance blimp. There you go. There
Yeah,
you go.
again, that's more that cigar shape I was talking about.
Mhm.
Looking
Fix
at
it
it
up.
that way.
I used to think weather balloons were UFOs when I was a kid. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Oh, Pops wants to get pretty first before he pops on.
Oh, okay.
Royal Airship says Sean Ryan's show had a guy on that explained that half the craft are man-made, and each company that's gotten their hands on it has reverse engineered the tech, resulting in different proprietary shapes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's just see. Oh, this one is November 23rd, 1951 in Riverside, California. Said the object above the skyline was a flying saucer. He claimed that he and 2 friends saw the object fly past at a very high rate of speed, and when it came back, he had his camera ready to go. How did he know it was going to come back? Hmm?
Took a chance. Took a chance.
Mm-hmm. How about you, David? Do you think that anybody who would be advanced enough to come to this world would probably have stealth technology?
I don't know if they would. Yeah, it's a tough
Would they
one,
worry
because
about that?
I don't think that they would. I don't, Well, first of all, we're making a lot of assumption that these are like
Real?
humanoid type, beings and all this stuff, and that they would be, like you said, concerned about the image and all this stuff. I mean, yeah, we can go off of, and we got to mention this at least once, right? We got to go off Star Trek and the insurrection, setting up the outpost and monitoring the natives and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of a lot to expect from a species. And the whole crashing thing, I think if they're smart enough to develop a system to navigate the universe, I think that little thing like our weather atmosphere wouldn't be that much of an issue. So I take a lot of these with a grain of salt. I know a lot of, when I was in high school and stuff, the double exposures and, photography manipulation, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
easy to do.
Easy to do.
Especially today with Photoshop. I mean,
I was going to say, a lot of those ones you could say, Photoshop, but of course, 50s, you didn't have Photoshop.
Right. This was taken in 1952 by a 21-year-old Coast Guard guy.
But you did have camera development and the ability to, double expose things. So the technology was there. It's primitive, but.
There's your cigar.
Yeah.
This light was photographed on October 16th, 1957, when it hovered for 15 minutes near Holman Air Development Center in New Mexico. So I'm thinking
that looks like a cloud to me.
I'm thinking if somebody took a picture of this near an air development center, wouldn't that kind of lend you to think that it's probably from that base and not an alien?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sticking by that's got to be something from either Cheech or Chong.
Yeah, it does look like a joint, doesn't it? Oh, with a little smoke coming out of it. There's Pops.
There's Pops.
Man, I've been sitting here listening, and it's like I want to comment, because you just keep jumping around.
We need all the help we can get.
Did any of you take photography in like junior high or high school?
Yep.
Did you play with negatives?
In college.
Did you play with? Yes, we played with negatives. Okay.
Double exposure.
A little bit of acetone dropped on it,
There's all kinds of things you could do. It was crazy. You could expose it to a little tiny bit of light in the corner, and it would like brighten the whole corner. You know what I mean? It was like there's a lot of things you could do to manipulate a negative.
This is just something on a string.
Now, I just want everybody to know I'm not coming out and being a naysayer. I'm a firm believer. I've seen more than my share of stuff I cannot explain, both on Earth and in the sky. So,
I asked my son, who's been in the Air Force now for 20 years, going for, I don't know, 30, 40. And I asked him if he believed, and he said yes.
Yeah. We'd be awful arrogant to think we're the only ones in the whole freaking.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
That's what I think too. Whether they're certainly not. This is somebody who's gotten two plates glued together and glued on a string. It says the Amalgamated Flying Saucer Club of America, headquarters in Los Angeles, released this photo taken by a member, reportedly showing a flying saucer on June 16th, 1963. Yeah.
Did any of you watch any
of
the Did any of you
I-
watch
I-
any of those hearings yesterday?
They,
The
they
hearings-
showed
not.
some of them on the news this evening.
The congressional
yeah,
hearings
about the
about
one
the
guy.
UFOs.
Yeah, we talked about when we started out the show. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I'm sitting here and I'm like, one distraction after another. You know, it's like they don't want nobody to talk about the real issues. But man, let's talk about UFOs. Okay, well now you got everybody
Yeah.
talking about UFOs. Now we want to see all the government stuff, not the
Right.
redacted stuff. We want to, since you're talking about it in
Yeah.
Congress.
What are they trying to distract us from?
Oh, well, I wasn't going to go there, but
Yeah. Well, I'm quite willing to go there.
And the so-called whistleblower that they have, he's supposed to have been in Air Force intelligence for 14 years, and he's very enthusiastic whistleblower. Oh yeah. There's aliens here. Yep.
yeah. All of a sudden, we got to talk about it. Everybody.
Oh yes, they have biologics. Are we talking alien or human? Alien biologics.
Now, I know the one that they call the Phoenix Lights. Okay. That thing flew over Sunny Slope. I lived in Sunny Slope. We pretty much watched this thing go over, and it was huge, and it was V-shaped, and
Yeah.
who knows? I mean, it could have just been a big experimental aircraft. Who knows? I mean, it
And I
came
think a lot of
down.
them are.
It came down across the state from Nevada, Area 51, where they test this kind of stuff. I mean, people saw it as it came through Wickenburg, as it came down toward Phoenix. It was seen by people on the ground. You know, I mean, basically everybody was tracking it via the internet. You know, I mean, everybody saw it. You can hit Phoenix Lights right now, and you'll see a million things on the internet about the Phoenix Lights.
I think I might have a picture of that one. This one here, I can explain this one here. The March 1966 photo was released on May 16th of that year. The Civil Defense Director of Hillside County, Michigan, as part of a 24-page report challenging an Air Force conclusion that swamp gas caused supposed UFO sightings in the area. And it said it was too windy for swamp gas. Now, this looks to me like when a plane breaks a sound barrier.
That's exactly what I thought too. Exactly what I thought.
Yeah, it's got the bow wave and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
got two. Yeah. That's
again, I
exactly
have
what
I'm a Air Force mom, so I've seen plenty of stuff on base with my son. That looks exactly like a sound barrier being broken. So swamp gas my ass. All right, this is in
And
'67.
not a UFO either.
Yeah. New Mexico State University student took this photo of what he said was a UFO while photographing land formations for a geology class. There we have the typical.
It's always between two things that are in the picture that are higher. You notice that?
Because they got it suspended from a wire across the two bluffs. Very good observation.
Good observation there, Pops.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
that would be easy to do.
I'm a huge UFO fan, a supernatural fan. Obviously, I'm a comic fan. Obviously, I love all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, most of the stuff is stuff I've seen already, and some of it looks cool, some of it looks eh. You know, I mean, seriously.
The ones we're seeing so far would be really easy to fake. Oh, look, somebody threw a fedora.
That one
Not
too.
a fedora, one of those
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
one of those
yeah.
little
It's
straw
straw
hats.
hat.
The pizza hat.
Yeah.
It's the pizza guy
Yeah.
hat.
1965, somebody played frisbee with a straw hat. Okay.
It's from the barbershop quartet guys. One of
That's
them just
right.
swing their hat up in the air. Baby.
All right, this is a field technician at a mountain laboratory weather station on Chalk Mountain in Colorado. Discovered this unidentified object March 1966, negative after he processed it. I haven't said it's a flying saucer yet, said when he released the image. So he didn't know it was there until after he processed.
Which means it's probably some kind of a reflection anomaly or light in his.
Doesn't that kind of look like an overhead light?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. I mean, I don't know what year was it. 66.
66.
Yeah, I think they had can lights even then. So yeah, that's kind of what it looks like.
Well, even
I
one
mean,
of
the
those
light
lights,
is even proper for that. Yeah.
yeah, even those type of lights that you always see in movies where
Well,
they
yeah.
put them over the
Yeah.
the
Kind of like this thing.
yeah, the perp that they want
like
to get them to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob has his own personal UFO right behind him. You need to say ACMAC there. ACMAC.
Oh, Vic is more of a Bigfoot guy than a UFO guy. Well, you should come to Wisconsin, kiddo. Well, I live in the middle of Bigfoot country. All right, here's a more recent one.
Ooh, that's one's color too.
This is more filmed by airline pilot deemed to be a genuine UFO. It's this cube. He took a picture
The
of
board.
out of his window.
That looks like a turkey tucking his head up his ass, going, "Oh shit, I'm about to get hit by a plane." I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
No, I agree.
Man.
It looks kind of dinky for a UFO. If you ask.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems to me like the light would hit it differently than the light. How's it being lit up? Do you see what I'm saying? The light's at the top of the clouds.
Yeah, because the light on the clouds seems to be coming from that way.
Can I make a really gross guess here?
Go ahead.
There's an airplane flying higher than this guy.
It dropped its poop.
Dropped the toilet contents. It's frozen in that kind of atmosphere.
I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you that.
And some lady in St. Louis actually had one of those crash through her ceiling one day,
God.
and it was one of those drops. They had dropped some, and it froze on the way down.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this looks like.
It
Frozen
freezes
chunk
as
of,
soon as it leaves the plane, man. It freezes instantaneously. The problem I have with it is who's dropping it over a populated area. What?
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. Yeah, but yes. But yeah, that's certainly what that looks like, is some kind of deposit like that.
Yeah,
Maybe they tried to drop it over an unpopulated area, and it kind of got stuck for a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. UFO spotted tracking aircraft caught on tape. Alien hunter calls it Foo Fighter. Don't ask me.
Foo Fighters were the little balls of light that chased the P-51s around during World War II.
Is that right?
Okay.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Like
I said, I'm an average UFO guy.
I just learned something. Yes, that's cool.
So what causes the Foo Fighter?
They moved independently.
They don't know.
Had no idea what they were, but they shadowed missions and stuff. I mean, a lot of pilots seen them. It was like that's where the band got their name, Foo Fighters.
Never knew that. Thank you for that.
Well, that adds a little more to. That's one of those little pieces of evidence that it has my own personal theory about what they are. But we'll talk. We can talk about that later. What's this one?
Breathtaking UFO. Huge UFO film from airplane over Poland.
See these right here. There's a video.
Oh yeah, this is part of a video. Yeah,
I don't want to see the still. I want to see this thing moving.
Well, I couldn't make that happen on my on here. I'm not that technologically advanced. A frozen chunk of black water or gray water. I can't remember. Oh yeah. There, Vic learned something new from Pops today.
Yeah, Foo Fighters. I did not know what that was. I thought it was play on Kung Fu.
No.
And misspelling it. But Foo Fighters is about UFOs. Okay. That's interesting.
I think the Japanese pilots also reported seeing them during World War II.
Huh.
All right, Pops. This one's for...
There you go. That's Foo Fighters right there.
Oh, those
Yeah.
are Foo Fighters, huh?
Yeah.
Would never have known that. That's a new one for me. All right. That's all the photos I had. So, is everybody in agreement that aliens could exist?
Oh yeah, like I said,
Yeah, it's quite possible. Quite possible.
We're way too arrogant and just as it is as a species that ain't been around that long. Come on, man. There's planets out there that have gone through this already.
Well, that's what we were saying earlier. The universe has been around for, what'd you say, 13 point something or other billion years?
13.8
and we're
billion
out
years since the Big
towards
Bang.
the outer
yeah.
rim. We'd have to be pretty arrogant to think that the
I
races
can't
that
understand why it's taken them so long to get out here. And then if they're monitoring any
Tolls, man.
transmission from us, they're turning around and going back anyway.
It's the tolls.
They don't want no part of this immature.
And I'm sure you know this, Pops, being a UFO aficionado, is that there's some people say that UFOs have been visiting us throughout time. There's some people that speculate some of the angels seen in the Bible are actually alien UFOs or aliens. They give off bright light, and so there's some of that, and and then the stuff down in South America where these guys are sitting, and it looks like they're sitting at a control panel.
You've got hieroglyphs in Egypt in Egypt on the walls of the pyramids that show
on the pyramids
saucers up in the air above whatever the main thing is in the hieroglyph. They were seeing this stuff before they were putting things in the air to confuse themselves. Okay, it's like now we go, I don't know, it could be a satellite, whatever, right? Because we've polluted our sky above us with so much stuff, you can't really tell. Back then, come on, the sky wasn't full of stuff. When they saw something moving in the air, they went, "Oh,
yes."
You know what I mean?
Just watching the motion of stars, the planets.
And comets were the harbinger of doom. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So my personal theory about what some of them might be: time travelers from the future, going back and witnessing things in history. The little Foo Fighters chasing, bombers in World War II, checking out history. So that's a pet theory. I can't prove it.
I figure
it's just a wild theory I came up with.
Some kind of a probe, some kind of
exactly. And they were
the probes now. Okay.
It's a little camera that they're taking pictures of history.
Yeah, intel gathering.
Yeah, exactly. They're to check. They're historians coming back to see what was really going on. So that's my pet theory as to what they are.
And nobody knows what's on the dark side of the moon, guys. Nobody knows what's on the dark side of the moon.
Pink Floyd does.
Dark side. Pink Floyd does. That's right.
There's a big base up there on the dark side of the moon.
It's a Death Star. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. A lot of people don't realize that they always see the same side of the moon.
Yep.
You always see. You don't see the other side.
Now they have taken pictures of the far side of the moon.
Which is
the proper name for it. We see the dark side of the moon at least once a month. So
we see the dark side when the sun's on the other side of it.
Exactly. Yeah. But the far side of the moon, they've actually taken pictures of it. It's got a huge number of craters on it, more than them on the side that faces Earth, which is kind of interesting. To what happened that there were so many there and on the other side. Well, I'm thinking that side's always faced out toward the solar system, so it's caught a lot of asteroids on that side. Yeah, it's taken all the impacts.
So how about these massive hieroglyphs that are like carved into mesas or hills? Yeah. They're all pointing. Nobody can see them from the ground, but you can see them from space or far up.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like way before space or air travel. So who were they trying to?
Right? So why? That was my whole point with the hieroglyphs that had the saucers in the sky way back then, when there was nothing else up there to see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. We we already know there's lizard people. Okay.
The mark on the back of the neck.
They're here. We know it. Don't be a race denier. They're here. Give them. Yeah, look.
What about ancient civilizations? Do you think any of those were given a hand up?
Oh well, I heard a really weird theory about the pyramids recently.
Come on.
That they weren't built by humans.
Yeah.
That's been around for a while, that the pyramids were built by aliens.
Yeah, I mean, not placed by aliens.
Oh, replaced?
No, they were
placed by
They were
aliens.
set down in place. Yeah.
Placed by aliens.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't like cart the rocks up the thing. The rocks were put in place from the air.
So the whole thing all at once or in parts?
Well, the way the blocks fit together so tightly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the part that's to me the weirdest part about the pyramid.
Yeah, I think that but human beings are doing that now. We just have better tools today to do it with. Yeah, it just took longer back then. Yeah, it's easy to do now. You've got diamond blades that spin, thousands of RPMs.
Cranes that can lift stuff up and set it down. We got all that stuff now.
Yeah, but they didn't have that back then, so it's hard for us to fathom people being able to figure out. But human beings are problem solvers. They figure out how to fix things, and to do things. If they want to do something bad enough, they'll figure out how to do it. But you go back to, we'll figure out how to do it. So I don't blame aliens for that stuff. I can't explain it. There's lots of things.
The strange part of it is the same type of structures in so many different places on Earth. Way back then, when nobody communicated.
Yeah, but human beings,
it's not like they were sending a letter going, "Hey, yo, man, we're building this cool ass thing, yo."
Yeah, well, they built pyramids. Yeah, they built pyramids in the South American continent, and they built them in Africa. So,
and China, there are places where there are pyramids they won't let people see.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that.
All right, Cam says the Earth rotates, but the Moon does not. The Moon always faces us.
It just rotates at the same time it goes around the Earth, so it still rotates. But yeah, it appears not to rotate.
So you're saying
Mercury does the same thing around the sun.
Oh yeah,
because it's so close. That's they call that being tidally locked, so that it turns at the same speed that it rotates around whatever it's a orbit.
Did you guys hear about the family in Vegas that's had the UFO that landed in their backyard or whatever? It was even on the cops' police cam. The blue light flying overhead, and the cop went to their house. This is in Vegas, like recently. You can pull this up on the news. It's like the cop went to their house and they were talking to him. Cops like, I don't want no part of that. And they were saying there were like 8-10 foot beings in their backyard. And dude, it was hilarious. I was like, I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not.
Man, I want what they're smoking.
Yeah.
It was on the news. They had, the cops went to their house. They was on the police car cop camera, the thing flying overhead, big blue flaming thing, dude, it's just like, are these people, were they kidding? Are they not? And then I think a few days later, family just disappeared, and it's like, what's going on over there? There's too many. Everybody has a camera now. You can't hide. They can't hide everything like they used to. Okay, they can't act like it didn't
carry a camera in our pocket.
Yes, they can't act like it didn't happen because too many people saw it and got it on video. So now they're having to come clean about some of this stuff, like you have.
So you think the alien kidnappings are real?
Look, nobody just thought up, I'm gonna get anally probed by an alien.
Earlier today he said we were going to use euphemisms and double entendres, and Pop's just right out. He just says it.
Yep, right on.
I don't have a filter. I'm sorry. All the Silverline.
He went there. He went
there.
You know.
I'm glad I'm not the only one with a potty mouth.
But that, the probe thing, somebody. Do you think somebody thought that up and said this would make a great story, or somebody was traumatized in that way and just like broke down telling everybody what happened to them?
There have been enough people who have independently said the same thing without knowing what the other people have said, that it's similar, that it makes you wonder. It's hard to figure out a way that people would independently come up with the same idea like that.
The first person, that first person that happened to, that came out and told everybody that happened to, they didn't make that up. Nobody would come out.
Nobody would make.
Nobody would want to come out and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, somebody shoved it."
I don't know. There are some weird people out there.
There's no 15 minutes of fame in that.
I've met a few of them in my 68 years.
That's not the kind of fame you're looking for, though. You see, that's your 15 minutes of fame. You want it to be a little bit cooler.
Yeah,
there's some of that. Kind they can get.
Yeah.
How about David? Have you ever met anybody? David, have you ever met anybody that says they've seen aliens or they've been kidnapped?
No, I haven't met anybody that said that. But I have had people that I know that participate or have participated in the past in some really freaky stuff that has, that the probe that you're talking about is nothing. So there are
what they've talked about.
Freaky people out there that are into some really crazy stuff.
That have like night terrors where they're like trapped in their bed and they can't move, right? And a lot of people associate that with a sighting in that locally and stuff like that. I noticed that a lot. You'll get sightings, and then a lot of people in that area will be reporting night terrors, and they couldn't move. They were frozen in their bed, and I know people that has happened to, that they woke up and couldn't budge in their own bed, out from under their own sheets.
There's a scientific explanation for that, but it doesn't mean it's entirely crazy. It could be something like that as well. Mm-hmm. Vic's mom saw one. Cool.
Also,
my dad said years ago that he saw a cigar-shaped thing streak across the sky. This is when I was a kid, so who knows?
Yeah. Well, you also got to remember that that there have been a lot of different drugs and opiates and stuff like that have caused visions too. So that could, I'm not saying that's behind it. And
why do you want to talk about me like that? That's like talking about me without talking about me.
But that could be the source of some hallucinations. I'm not saying that's everything. I mean, like I said, there could be stuff out there. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying that a lot of that stuff could have been born from that, and that's been going on for a long time.
I'm gonna go out on a little limb here and say, usually if I'm tripping and I see something, I pretty much know that ain't real.
There you go.
I'm kind of looking for stuff to not be real.
I can concur on that.
After I drop some LSD, I'm not going to run to the news and go, guess what I just saw? I'm trying to see that stuff, but not tell nobody else about it.
Yeah.
Back to the
you don't want that's. Yeah, back on the subject, eh?
Back to the ancient civilizations. It's been posited that some of these civilizations that we're digging up, that we can't explain how advanced they were, or say legendary stories of like Atlantis, that they were actually being helped along by aliens. What do you say, David? What do you say?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know that there have been, if we go back and we look at a lot of times, even things that, aren't questionable, we look at some of the, like the Greek and Roman, marble statues and carvings and stuff like that. That took some, real ingenuity, but it is, possible for people to go ahead and do that and have that technology.
Figure out how to do it.
Even with the pyramids and stuff. I mean, a lot, the base things for the pyramids are square blocks. It's how a lot of them are stacked and all that,
They found, actual
But they-
batteries, ancient batteries in the pyramid that stored electricity.
Rob knows. Just look at that ponytail. He knows a little how to have fun, right?
The other
Yeah,
thing
I remember parts.
say,
I remember parts of the 70s.
when you talk about pushed along, I want you guys to think about this. For 5,000, 10,000 years, the human race was just fine being dragged around by horses. Suddenly, in the colonial Americas, things got different. Edison, Franklin, all these people in this one small area, all these huge minds. And then you got Da Vinci and you have Tesla, okay? All just like coming up with this stuff that's either way before their time or timed perfectly to jump the human race from horseback to outer space in 100 years. In 100 years. We went for 5,000 years riding the horses.
Yep.
My
All of a sudden, we're in
grandfather was born
space.
in
Tell me we didn't
1900.
get a push. We got a push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 1900s. What?
My grandfather
Yeah.
was born in 1900 and died in 1986. And
Saw it
he,
all.
when
Uh-huh.
he was when he was a young man, they were still farming with horses. And
Yeah.
in the 1920s, he took his Model A and drove to Iowa and bought the farm where my father was raised, where I was raised. And in the 60s, he saw men land on the moon. So imagine seeing
Went from
all
horse
that.
and buggy era all the way to the moon.
Yes, in
Man,
100
his
years.
lifetime.
This is what I'm saying. We definitely got to push. Somebody went, "Hey Ben, you should go fly a kite." You know?
And that was like in 80 years.
It's gonna go out and
No,
fly a
that-
kite in a
that was
lightning
like
storm
60
unless
years.
you were told this is a good idea.
Yeah, that was like in 60 years.
Then
He
that whole
went
thing
from
stalled for how long? It stalled after 1969 and 68, 69 and 70. We stopped going past low Earth orbit.
No,
Yeah,
then
so
everything
we
became
wasted a lot
let's
of time.
shrink. Everything became shrinking technology then. Okay, I mean, remember the computers used to fill a building. Now they're
Oh, yeah.
This
now they're
yeah,
right here.
watch, the
Yeah.
watch on my
Agreed.
wrist has more power than the computer on board Apollo 11 had.
Mhm. That's what I mean. We just advanced
Never mind, Siri.
so fast. There's no way anybody will ever convince me that we didn't get a push. We advanced so fast. I mean,
So
Why,
you
you
think
think
it's
there
like
was, like-
2001: A Space Odyssey, where the aliens inspired the apes to start
well, no, I
eating meat,
just like
killing
I kinda
things and
think
eating
just
meat.
the way I put it, I actually have
Yeah.
a comic script that goes along the lines of the power behind the throne and the power behind world leaders and
Well,
whatnot.
This-
Somebody
this
tapped on
universe
Ben's
is a
shoulder,
big
and there's
place.
no way somebody as smart as Benjamin Franklin decided to go outside and fly a kite in a thunderstorm unless somebody convinced him it was a good idea. There's
I
no way.
don't know. I think there's a lot of people that would have done it. They're play from Florida.
what people do now compared to what people did then is like,
Here,
now
hold my
people
beer.
do all that dumb shit.
Well, it's like what the last words of the redneck. Hey, y'all, watch this.
Yeah, hold my beer.
Oh, yeah, or hold my
Ben
beer.
was at a party
yeah.
one night, and they were chugging down that mead, and they were talking about lightning, and somebody suggested it, and Ben says, "Here, hold my mead."
Went out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think somebody
but
had a
it's,
really, had to have
this
really
universe
good
is a
reason.
huge place. There's all kinds of possibilities of what's going on.
And then
It
you
could
figure
be
Edison, Thomas Edison, and all these other people that were in that small area, and all their things that they came up with all seemed to fit together perfectly to make stuff work. I mean, the phone don't work without the electricity. All this stuff, the light bulbs, all of it, it doesn't work without electricity, right? Now, Tesla got screwed. He should have been over here in the colonies when he came up with this stuff. Then he would have got full credit.
Instead of
Well,
being
he
the science.
and Edison were in a big battle, and Edison
Oh yeah,
had
they
more
hated
power.
each other.
Yeah,
And
that's what I'm saying.
Tesla
He'd have been
was a
here.
little bit of Tesla was a little bit of a weirdo too. So yeah, he didn't help himself too much. So,
But
Now
what
Tesla's
great,
he was
science
he was a
experiment.
brilliant weirdo.
what great mind isn't? Einstein was a
Yeah,
weirdo.
there's
Mark
that.
Twain was a weirdo. All the great minds were weirdos.
Well,
We
that's
understand
how
now.
you make progress. Is you think outside the box. That's how you make progress.
Very true.
Back
Yeah,
to
the
the
founding
pyramids,
fathers
though,
were
I have
frat
to
boys.
admit, I have to admit though that they had the lines of the pyramids on such a perfect parallel, exact north and south and stuff like that. That was pretty amazing how they managed that. Pops would say,
Well, same thing with navigating on the seas. It was probably done by the stars, and
That's
and using
that's
the shadow of the sun at certain times to
What
do
they call them?
to align things properly.
Astrolabes or astrolabes?
Astrolabe,
Yeah.
it's spelled astrolabe. I don't know how it's pronounced. I think astrolabe is correct, but I don't know for sure. I've
Cool.
only read the word,
Cool
not actually
instruments.
heard it spoken. Yes, but yeah, or a sextant that
Yes.
they used at sea. Yeah, so that's easy to explain, but who came up with that idea in the first place? Where was it? Is it inspiration or was it Prometheus giving it to us? Who knows?
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. It's like there are times in our history where we learn stuff that just doesn't fit.
Copernicus.
Yeah, but I have met people that have had really strange, weird insights. That and again, you know this, Pops. No, you back in the day when you were doing dropping a little bit of the LSD. That you would have some pretty huge insights that would come to you, and sometimes after you came down, you'd go, I can't remember what I
Some
came up
went
with.
away.
At the time, at some point in time, you had this huge idea, and you wish you could have held on to it. So
Some of those go away, and then some of them stick with you forever.
So,
At least you're not drilling a
those
hole in the
insights.
center of your head to open your third eye.
Well, no, it's like one time I was tripping.
Yeah,
and I
people
saw
did stuff
everybody
like that.
around me. I saw everybody around me for who they are, not the facade that they wore.
Oh,
Right.
God. I'm glad I wasn't
That
there.
stuck with me. Okay, that stuck with me. And now I'm looking in your eyes because I want to know if that's really you. You know what I mean? That there's a few
Yeah, 'cause
times where I had a
we all put up.
epiphany or
We're
whatever.
all putting, and we do it for different people, different ways. We're all putting up. This is the version of us we want you to know.
It was the
We
first
won't-
time I
yeah,
saw
so-
it, though. It was, I was young. It was the first time I
Yeah,
saw that these
which-
people
yeah.
aren't really who they portray themselves to be. And then I started looking at people closer after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It stuck with
Uh-huh.
me. So, some
So
of it went away.
was it chemical or was it Prometheus?
Yeah, I don't know. I
That's
remember
where
one
this
time
stuff came from.
I had a friend that played piano, and he was like a prodigy piano player. Okay.
Yeah.
And I went to his house at 2 a.m. and I was, and I made him sit in front of his piano and play me some music because I needed something to keep
To
me
organize
keep me grounded.
your thoughts.
Keep me grounded.
Organize your thoughts. Yes. Uh-huh.
I made dude play for like 6 hours. His fingers were bleeding. There were blood all over his keys. I apologized so bad the next day, but he understood where I was. And he was like, dude, I would have played all night long. It was like, you needed it. I did it, because sometimes that wasn't what you expected when you did something. Sometimes it took over. You needed your friends.
Well, and they're finding out today that LSD can actually help, and if it's properly administered, and dosages, and also having someone to help walk through the experience, that it's actually very beneficial. But it's
I like how we went off the rails here.
Dangerous. Yeah, it's very dangerous. Well, but we always do this. It's threadbare.
Vic, we are not influencing you in any way. We are telling you bad things we did. Bad things.
Well, I'm telling you, if you do it without the proper influence
guidance
around you, it can be very, very dangerous. It can screw you up.
If it helps you any, I never liked it.
I wouldn't.
I felt too out of control.
I don't recommend it.
Any substance that I tried, I was like one and done because I didn't like feeling out of control.
I'm not gonna lie, I like mushrooms better.
Sauteed with a little butter.
Well, however you want to make it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the cool part about mushrooms is you can make dishes with them.
Oh man, we definitely got off subject.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry I brought it up initially.
I mean, it's out there like you have. It's a whole different kind of out there.
Now you got to understand, if you invite Pops to join you,
We're going to go off the rails.
It could go.
We
off.
always go off the rails. So we managed Star Trek and Star Wars, but so far we have not managed
until now.
But we've been talking about where all that stuff, the thoughts for those shows and stuff came from Roswell. They came from all those stories about UFOs.
Yeah. Well, it's all a progression from all that. If you look at it, some of the inspiration for Star Trek came from the 1950s. I think 1954 movie Forbidden Planet. Some of the ideas from that came, and if you look at the shape of that ship, if I can say it properly, it's a saucer. It's a flying saucer. So it makes sense that would be something that you would fly in outer space and could bring it into an atmosphere and land it as well.
What I loved about Star Trek and Star Wars is that they didn't just give us flying saucers.
They mixed it up.
They were ship designs and cool, you know what I mean? It was like,
workable
of course, there is
designs.
a saucer on the front of the Enterprise, so yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got the saucer section on D that comes off.
They have the nacelles. Yeah, they have the nacelles that powered it, which made more sense than
which is the cigar
flying
shape.
saucer. Yeah.
The Romulan ships, the Klingon ships, the designs of all the different ships were so cool, and the same with Star Wars. The Star Destroyers, the giant triangles and everything, I mean, they came up with cool ship designs that took away the flying saucer thing. And I like that because I wouldn't want to be just flying around and something looks round like everybody else got. I want a Corvette.
I can kind of see the reasoning behind the saucer, though, because you would have to assume that the interior was spinning in order to create gravity.
I don't know. Outside spinning so the inside doesn't. I don't know. I don't know how that works. The one thing I know is that it would have to be completely pressurized, climate controlled, gravity controlled, because the human body couldn't withstand the G's that I've seen some of the stuff in the sky. There's no way.
Well, that's what makes me believe that they aren't even creatures in there. They were probably constructs. They're probably like robots or androids. which wouldn't be subject to any of that
Right.
necessarily. So, but and yeah,
we couldn't fly around in those things. I mean, our pilots have a hard
no,
time
yeah,
from the turns that our jets do. You know, I mean, you can go to sleep in the back of an F-18. I don't know if you know that or not, but they can put you right to sleep if you're not ready.
Yeah, it'll drive all the blood from your head and knock you out if you're not careful.
Tell you to clench your gut.
Well, they wear suits that put pressure on the bottom part of their body in order to force the blood back up into their head.
My brother-in-law flew an F-18. He was an F-18 trainer in peacetime, navigator on an A6 in wartime.
My son's been on the ground for 20 years, arming the F-16s. Now he's going to be arming F-35s. But he did get to go up once, and he says it's pretty intense.
Yep.
Listen, we have reached our 8 o'clock hour, and I'm gonna have to say something before we get out of here. In August, we have an upcoming Kickstarter, which will include finally issue number 4 of Cat and Mouse. I know you guys thought you'd never see it, but it's in the can. Not literally. And it will be part of the Kickstarter along with Kalis. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And we appreciate Pops. Yes.
Make sure you tell Roland I owe him a couple of dollars because I slipped.
This is here's
the
Pops
swear jar.
Mulder, Pops Mulder Van Zant was on tonight, and we really appreciate him coming on because it's always a delight.
Yeah, thanks for dropping.
And I have to do less work. See, that's
but yeah, this is something I'm interested. I've always loved UFOs and weird stuff, man. I'm a comic fan, obviously. You know, I mean, throw it my way. I want to see it. I'm one of them guys. You know them. You know the stupid people that were on the building and during Independence Day at the top of the building.
Yes.
You know, partying, going, yeah, pick me up, yeah. There's me. I'm up there partying with them people. You know.
As the big orifice opens up underneath, and you don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah. That's
okay.
It's great talking to you guys as always. I will see you again, I'm sure.
Okay. Thanks again,
care,
Pops.
Pop.
Thanks, David. It was great of you guys to pop in tonight. And as everybody
didn't let you say much, David, but thanks for coming.
Yes. Yes, Vic, make mine Silverline, and if I get abducted, I blame Roland. That's a good plan. I always blame Roland too. All right, everybody. What do we say? Make mine Silverline.
Hi, I'm Bill Black. I created FemForce. But you know what? Today, make mine Silverline.